Part of the rule of law, part of public safety means that you have strong borders and that you're enforcing your immigration laws. If you look at what's happened over the past many years, we're seeing a deluge of fentanyl pouring in to our country. They say only the border town should care about it. I'll tell you, every state's a border state. Pennsylvania's getting fentanyl, Florida's getting fentanyl, and I'm just sick of having to console mothers who are losing kids because they're lacing this stuff with fentanyl, and they maybe make one mistake, and then all of a sudden they lose a child. Biden laughs about fentanyl. He was talking about one family, and he was chuckling the other day there. He doesn't care about the amount of drugs that are pouring across the border. He's not doing anything. He doesn't care about the criminal aliens that are pouring across the border. I mean, people like Maduro in Venezuela, they're emptying jails, and they're sending folks to our southern border. You have people on the terror watch list that are coming across the southern border. That's just not me saying it. That's Biden's own DHS saying that. We even had people affiliated with the CCP coming across our southern border. So this is something that I think states should be responding to. Obviously, the federal government should be doing it. But in Florida, we've leaned in on day one against illegal immigration. They told me, you can't do that in Florida because we have a lot of Hispanic voters there. And I can tell you this, we've been very tough on immigration, and the people that have supported me the most have been Latino voters in the state of Florida. They want strong borders. They want the rule of law enforced. So we've done things like ban sanctuary cities in the state of Florida. We sued Biden, and we have won at the district court level against his catch and release policies because they're not legal. We also have to deal with people trying to come directly into Florida by sea. And so we have boats coming from Haiti or Cuba. And yeah, the Coast Guard, it's their responsibility, and they by and large do a really good job, but they're undermanned. Biden doesn't want to send as many ships as we need. So we're now under a state of emergency where I've marshaled all of Florida's marine resources. We're out there interdicting these boats, working with the Coast Guard, and so far in the last 6 months, we've repatriated 11,000 illegal aliens back to Haiti and back to some of these places. But the frustrating thing about all this is that you don't get much attention, certainly from Biden's administration, the corporate media. A lot of people just don't want to, they want to pretend that this problem doesn't exist. The only time I saw any of these folks get concerned about illegal immigration was when 50 illegal aliens showed up in beautiful Martha's Vineyard. Then they got really upset about it. They don't care that these poor border towns have thousands and thousands of people going through, that the cartels are running the show. They don't care about that. But when you have 50 show up in one of the wealthiest enclaves in the world, an enclave, mind you, that billed itself as a sanctuary jurisdiction. They actually had an office in their little downtown that said, nobody's illegal, you know, we accept everyone from around the world. That's what they were advertising, and yet, when they had 50 show up, did they integrate them in the community? No. They called out the National Guard and they deported them off Martha's Vineyard the next day. These liberal elites want to impose their policies on you, but they don't want to have to deal with the consequences of their ideology or their policies. And we were able to expose that. Texas has exposed it by sending to Manhattan and some of these other places. But I think if what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We shouldn't have open borders, but if the left is imposing open borders, then the illegals should go to sanctuary jurisdictions, not to Florida, not to Pennsylvania. And a big part of the solution, no doubt, is the construction of a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. You need to have a wall because if you don't, you always could have an administration that doesn't care about enforcing it. The wall is a fact of life. People can't just get over it. They try to go around when you don't have the wall completed. And so what I've told people is, we have some experience in construction in Florida. We just had a major hurricane come through Southwest Florida. Some of you may know people down there, have family or friends down there. Major hurricane, and among other things, it knocked out bridges going to Pine Island and the Sanibel Island. The causeway was severed in 3 different places. Now, these were not state bridges. They were not our roads, but the locals were being told it's going to take 6 months to get those bridges back in working order, and so you just have to find a way to evacuate. And those islands would have died if that would have happened. So they came to me and said, Governor, can you help us? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to help. So I got my team together and I said, listen, I don't want any red tape. I don't want any bureaucracy. I don't want any of this stuff. I just want this stuff built. So let's start now and get it done. And so we took over the job for Pine Island, and they feared that they were going to be out for 6 months, and we rebuilt the bridge in 3 days. And so I just raised that because I am willing to send my Florida people down to the southern border to build the wall. Put us in, Coach. Come on, Joe. We'll do it. We'll get it done.